Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer Tech. This is an HP Pavilion X360 and we're going to talk about it today. What is an X360? That means that it's a laptop that can do the full flip upside down into a tablet. Kind of a gimmick, but if you ever wanted to use it as a drawing device or as a touchscreen gaming device, you can do that. It's something that Macs just can't do unless you buy an iPad. Overall, the build quality of this thing is quite good. Let me tell you about it. Well, this is the late 2018 HP X360 Pavilion. There's a couple of different X360s. There's a Pavilion, which is the lower end version. Then there's a Spectre, which is the really high end version. It does still have a metal build quality, really nice keyboard. It has really nice Bang & Olufsen speakers that sound excellent actually. It has a 1080p IPS based display, and let's just get it turned on here. On this side we have a full-size USB jack, a headphone jack. This is exhaust ventilation for heat. This is the power button, a Kensington lock, and then nothing else. And while this machine is booting up, I'll show you what's on this side. We have the power in, so it does not use a power delivery charge through USB. It does still use a proprietary plug. HDMI for video, another USB 3.0 port, a USB-C 3.1, not Thunderbolt 3, but USB-C, and an SD card reader. Volume up, volume down. And this is a fingerprint reader for logging in. Should be able to just hold my finger along the side here. Fingerprint could not be recognized. And likely because it's been a few days, it's not going to let me in. So it couldn't recognize me. So this is running Windows 10. And on this video display right now, it looks pretty good. But when you're looking at it in person, it's not that great. And I've tried to boost up the colors as much as I could. And how I did that was by installing different display drivers. On Windows machines, the display drivers are locked down by the manufacturer, in this case HP. So even though this has a normal Intel-based CPU and an Intel-based graphics system, the manufacturers lock it down, unless you know a way around that. And there is a way to get around it. All you do is you go to the Intel website, download the generic-based latest driver, and then you can install the INF separately. In order to force a graphics driver update, you want to go into Device Manager, then choose Display Adapters. Go to your graphics, Intel Graphics, double click, choose Driver, choose Update Driver, choose Browse Computer, and then choose Browse. It's going to take me to where I had downloaded my software, but what you're looking for is your INF based file. So you're actually going to go, here's where I'm using the latest Intel graphics, and I went into the graphics folder and it let me do it. And then I hit Next. And it's going to search that, and it picks up Intel HD UHD 620, and it will let you install it this way. If you try and just run the installer, it will fail. It will tell you that it's not compatible, but that's how to get around it. And once you do, then you get the newer style graphics. And once I did that, I got this new interface, and I was also able to tweak my display settings. So I could go in here, and what I found was that by default, it was way over brightened. So I have it at 20, but this is what the display looked like out of the box, was that washed out, where everything was very, very washed out. Really, the colors are very muddy, but I was able to fix that by downloading the newer version of Intel graphics driver and just dropping my all color gamma down by 20, and that made the screen look much better in my opinion. The other thing you may be noticing is that this machine is a little noisy. Unlike the Macs that only run the fans when they get really hot, this thing seems to run the fan almost all the time. Unnecessarily so. It is not really that hot. I don't have software on it right now to show me the temps, but overall, it just tends to run the fan a lot. So there are ways to mitigate that. You can find some fan-based programs, any other utility software to try and undervolt the CPU will keep heat down and manage that well. This is a touchscreen, so you do have all touchscreen based controls. I can go into my settings and change everything in here for touchscreen based use. It works pretty well. I really did want to turn this into a Hackintosh. It's so new that it just wouldn't do it. So this is a 8th gen Core i5 8265U. It is a quad core, and let's do a little CPU test, a Cinebench test right now to show you how powerful it is. Also, this has the throttle management unlocked. So if I use Extreme Tuning Wizard, which I've showed you before on other laptop videos, if you download the Intel Extreme Tuning Wizard, and if you go into the advanced settings, you can then control your turbo boost and how much power it's using. So by default, this system is enabled for 15 watts turbo power max and short power 30 watts. And I've got it set so that it can use 30 watts all the time and 40 watts at max. And that is unlocked. Also, I have an undervolt set of minus 100 millivolts, and that has seemed to run very well and keep the system quite stable. So I'm going to just close this down for a minute, and we're going to go to Cinebench, and we'll run Cinebench. This is a traditional dive board style system, but you can do tap to, you don't have to physically click it, you can also just do taps. So we're going to do a Cinebench R15 render run, and we're just going to run this now on CPU, and you're going to see how well this runs. This is a Core i5-8265U, and actually there's one of the last scores I got. Spoiler, 772. That's almost as fast as an i7-4770K from a desktop machine, and it's just whipping. That's what was really cool about this machine. If I had been able to turn it into a Mac, it would have been a rendering beast, because it's actually quite a powerful CPU in this machine. It's the latest generation mobile CPU by Intel. There is no newer version than this right now. So this is just whipping right through a Cinebench run, faster than any of the Macs that I own. And if I was willing to convert all of my editing software over to Windows, this would be an excellent editing computer, actually, because it has a very nice keyboard travel, very nice feeling keys, very nice keyboard, somewhat small but nice feeling trackpad, and all the ports you would ever need. And now that I've fixed the display issue with a graphics driver tweak, it is adequate enough to look at. It's not color accurate, but at least it's saturated enough now, and it's not over brightened where it's just hard to look at. So on that rendering run, because we're doing some other stuff in the background, we got a 696, but my best ever was a 772, and I believe at one point I got that up to like 790, but I didn't save it. So this is a quite powerful machine. You know, the last MacBook that I showed you got like a 390, and my MacBook Air gets a 250. It's faster than those in very similar form factor. Like this is a pretty svelte, nice little Ultrabook. It has a 256 gig NVMe SSD. I really do like this thing. And if I could find a good use for it, I would keep it. But for right now, it's kind of on the chopping block because I just find myself not using it. One of the other things about this machine is that there are service manuals available for all HP devices, so you can see how to take them apart. This one was very odd, so I'm not going to be able to take it apart for you to see how it works, because what I thought was that you'd be able to take this bottom clamshell off. There's the air intake on the bottom, and I thought you'd just pull off those 4 pads and then you'd take the bottom off. That's not how it works. You take off the 4 pads, there's a bunch of screws that are under there. You take those off. That lets you pull this keyboard top deck off, and there's a bunch of special tools that you need to release this upper cover, and really it seems like this thing is not designed for you to get into it. So that's a little bit unfortunate for the tinker person, because in order for me to turn this into a Hackintosh, I was going to have to replace the Wi-Fi module, because you can only run certain Wi-Fi modules in Mac, and the card that's in this does not work, but I can't even get into it to swap it out. So I was having way too many problems trying to convert this into a Mac. It's just not going to work out for me. I thought it was going to be a really cool option to be able to get something like this that has a nice keyboard, fairly nice screen, nice build quality, and just turn it into a Macintosh without having to pay Macintosh prices. But not so much luck. But if you're looking for a really good Windows machine, take a look at these HPs. They're actually quite good. If you have the means, the Spectre is even better. If you can buy the Spectre X360, it is awesome. The battery life on this machine does seem adequate. It gives you probably 6 to 7 hours of usage, light usage, and if you're pushing it, you're probably going to get 3 or 4 hours of usage out of it. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.